All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of Limitless MD. I'm your host, Vikram Raya. And today, guys, we're going to go into sales, marketing, strategy, and just learning how to get more clients, more patients, and more people into the doors than you can ever know what to deal with. What if you could reclaim hours of free time each week, create legacy building wealth, and devote more energy to your passion projects without giving up on your career as a life-saving MD? My name is Vikram Raya, functional cardiologist, high performance coach, and real estate expert. And I'm here to give you the tools, strategies, and solutions you need to transform your life so you can unlock your limitless potential and achieve greatness, all the while freeing up your precious time. Welcome to Limitless MD. Let's dive in. And I have my good friend and business partner, Nic, on the podcast. Welcome, Nic.
Hey, Vikram. Thanks for having me. Really happy to be here. Excited to get into all this stuff.
Yeah, absolutely, Nic. And, people have been telling me, man, this podcast, you guys don't play around. You go straight to the meat of the matter. And this episode will be no different. So let's get into it. I know your background is very unique. You are not from this place. And I don't mean extraterrestrial. I mean, you're not from the United States. Where are you from?
Yeah, so my family and I moved to Ohio, the US, obviously, in 2005 from South Africa, Johannesburg. So I wasn't born and raised there. I mean, we moved here when we were young, but I've been back a couple times, and it's definitely very, very different. Gives me a good outlook on things, I think.
Yeah, what do you think some of the top differences are between how things operate in South Africa versus the United States?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is just, one, the mindset of people there, and two, just like the feel when you're there. When you're here, you can walk down the street anytime, usually if you live in a good place, any time of the night, do whatever you need to do. There, if you're pulling up to your driveway, there's an electric fence around your whole house. You got to open that up and then get into your house. It's a lot more and not as much freedom, I would say.
Yeah. Cape Town, Johannesburg, Durban, they're some of the most favorite places I visited in my journey. So very nice. Definitely a beautiful country, and but I'm definitely glad you're here. And you are the CEO and founder of Scale Labs. Tell me what that is about, and how did you get into this business?
Yeah, so Scale Lab essentially helps people grow their business predictably through different marketing channels. I got into it 4 or 5 years ago, and at first I was very interested in e-commerce. There was a huge wave of people going into e-commerce. I realized it was just it wasn't what I wanted to do. I wanted to actually help people with marketing instead of just like helping myself. So I kind of grew into social media marketing and then agency work, quote unquote, but I don't even like comparing myself to an agency anymore. I'm a business partner, like you said, someone that wants to see my clients grow their business as much as I grow mine as well. So that's kind of how I got into it. And ever since, I've gone through tons of courses, read lots of books about this stuff, and helped a lot of really cool people too.
Yeah. I want to tell the listeners, guys, I've been working with a lot of strategists across my career. And, when I was a doctor and practicing full-time as a cardiologist, I would have medical mentors. And then when I transitioned to having, a single family company, then I'd have single family residential mentors. And then I did my integrative functional medicine clinic, and then learning to market digitally, I had a person helping me there. And then when I wanted to create the syndication company called Viking Capital and, reach out to thousands of people across the country, I had strategists and mentors there. But now when I'm trying to take my company Limitless and help as many doctors as possible achieve the 5 freedoms, who better than Nic, who has learned the value of freedom by coming out of South Africa into the United States. And he's been instrumental in helping my company really succeed. And let's get into it, Nic. How do you help clients succeed in business by generating more leads?
Yeah, so overarching, I help them refine their offer that they currently have and figure out the best way to present that and put that in front of their ideal prospect or customer out there, whether it's through a Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, ads, and other mediums. That's essentially the overarching way that I help people. The biggest thing that I take people through is something I call the pyramid of growth in my business. that I help walk people through. So it's a 3-tier kind of structure. And just very simply, it's broken down into 3 phases, just building your foundation. And that foundation is then broken down even further to what's a win that you can get in your business or your career right now, something very small that you can achieve in 30 to 60 days. How can you grow that further? So say it's just getting 1 sale. How can you turn that into 10? And then scaling it is turning it predictable, making it something more predictable. So how can I get 1 sale every single week? And that's kind of the foundation of everything. And we help people build their businesses and reach more people and impact more people in the way that they want to through that pyramid of growth. So that's the main foundation of how I help people.
And guys, if you didn't catch that, again, this will be in the show notes, but it's a remarkable thing. The pyramid of growth is get a micro win, then fertilize that by growing that into multiple wins, then 10x that. Then how do you make it predictable? You create scale, right? You create it where, hey, I invest $1,300 a month, I get 5 new patients in the door, for example. So
exactly. Yeah.
let's talk about. So my listeners are various. They're all exponentially successful physicians in different categories. Some are still practicing and they're doing a great job at it. They are working as surgeons. They're radiologists. They are ENT doctors. They're cardiologists. They're internal medicine doctors all over the country. So if you have a traditional clinical practice, give us something that if they wanted to essentially, let's say they wanted 30% more patients, what could they do?
I'd say the number one thing that they could do, and there's lots of different, not necessarily gimmicks, but shiny objects out there for people to go after, like posting more on social media, maybe even doing podcasts like this, or just getting out there in certain ways. While all those things can help, I think the number one thing is just getting more people to raise their hand and say, hey, I have this problem. I want this solution. And the best way that I've found to do it is there's 3 different ways. You can either, 1, tell people, hey, fill out this survey, fill out this application, and let's see if you have these problems, and you can diagnose from there. The second way is building some kind of offer that you can give to people without as much of your time. That's probably more for the service offers out there that are listening. And then the third way is simply just increasing your engagement. That's so big, is just if you can get more engagement and just build more and have more conversations with people, if that's your number one goal, you're going to end up getting more clients, more patients through the door. It just becomes a numbers game.
So I'm I'm a weight loss doctor, and I have some insurance and I have some pay model. Help me figure out the 3 things of how I can help my clients raise their hands, or my patients raise their hands. 1, you said filling out surveys or things like that, or an application. Number 2, you said offers, and then getting a really good offer out there, and hopefully that can be a scalable offer. And then finally, you said increase engagement. Let's use this as an example. I want to really give my listeners something they can take home today and act on it. So what do you mean by the first one? Maybe filling out applications or surveys?
Yeah, so I'll break it down, and I think we can put this somewhere, maybe show it somehow. The number one thing I would do is literally, if you have a computer, you go on Canva, make something called a blunt post. All the blunt post is white background, black text. And the way to structure it, and you'll get people raising their hand like no one's business, even if you don't run this as a paid ad. You say, hey, I am looking for 5 women, be as specific as you possibly can, that want to lose 7 pounds of belly fat in just 30 days, right? Then that's calling out the people. If you're a woman, you're looking at it and like, that's me. You're like, okay, you've got my attention. Then right below that, just put a little bit more details. Repeat the thing. Hey, I'm looking for these women that want to do this without X, right? If there's a common misconception out there, right? Say people think that you have to, we'll stick with the diet stuff. Say people think that you have to quit all your foods that you love, like chocolate, without giving up on foods that you love, without giving up drinking wine, without giving up, getting home early from the office or whatever, without, boring workout programs, without giving that up. All you need to do is just send me a message or click the button and fill out the survey, and we'll talk to you from there. It's the easiest thing you can do. And it may not be as sexy or as cool as people want, right? But it works because it's super simple and it's straight to the point. And that's usually the very first thing that I like to test with people is just simple, black on white, put it out there and see what get people to raise their hand.
Yeah, I love that. And I love the fact how simple it is. Guys, you can do this right now. And bottom line, from what I've known about things in business, selling, marketing, and just trying to grow your company, it's conversations. The more conversations you have, the more powerful a pipeline you build, and the more offers you make, the more sales you'll get. It's as simple as that. And you don't care about the no's, you just care about making offers. And you'll get the ratio will improve over time because you'll improve your processes. But it's just about, if you don't ask, you'll never get an answer. So get the engagement, get the conversations, those the more meaningful conversations you have with people, and you letting them know what's going on with your practice, with your clinic, with your services, you will undoubtedly grow your practice. And think about all of this as what he's talking about. It's a funnel. The more you pour in at the top of the funnel, the funnel does taper as you go down, right? So you do have reduction in numbers, but the simple concept is if you pour more at the top, you'll get more at the bottom. But That's awesome. So now let's talk about the offer. Can you go in depth about that, Nic?
Yeah, so this is probably, if you're gonna get anything right, this is the one thing you want to get right, is building a good offer. And in the pyramid of growth graphic that I have, it says at the very bottom, build an offer that's meant to be marketed, right? You may have an offer right now that works, but maybe you're not marketing it as much. Maybe it's through word of mouth that people are coming in, which is great. It doesn't mean that you have to change what you're offering. It means that you have to change how you're offering that thing or how you're presenting it to people. The biggest example that I like to use is, say you're selling a chair. If you're selling a chair, there's going to be a couple of reasons why someone may want that chair. They may want it, one, because it looks really cool, and that's the reason they want to buy it, or they may want the chair because it just looks comfortable. You're going to need to figure out, hey, do my people want my thing for option A or option B? And then start to speak to more of that. So the best way to actually figure that out is to simply just ask. If you have a lot of clients, or even if you have very little, ask them, hey, are you interested more in this thing or in this thing? Give them surveys, figure out, hey, why were you interested in this? Why did you love this thing that we did? What could have made it better? So on and so forth. And say you can do it on both sides of the spectrum. Say someone leaves your practice because they're not happy anymore. Do an exit survey, figure out, hey, what could have we done better? What could have you done better to make the experience, better overall? And as you continue to gather these data points, you'll start to figure out what people's current situations are that they want to get out of and what the desired situation is that they want to reach. And you can kind of fill in the gaps along the way, and your offer should be the bridge that takes them from current to desired situation. If your offer can do that in the easiest way possible, that's a big win.
And Nic and I are both fans of this gentleman, but I think this is a time to plug this book as a must read for my Limitless Tribe listeners. This is Alex Hormozi's $100 million offers book. And this gentleman went from, I think a couple $100,000 to, I think he's worth several hundred million now. And he's made it so simple in how to construct an irresistible offer. And I don't care if you have a traditional practice and you're only insurance based, there's ways you can entice people to still come to you, because what's happening is if you're an insurance guy, the guy down the street is an insurance guy, and two people down the door is an insurance guy, then it's like essentially you people go to either the cheapest price, who can get them in the first, maybe, who's closer to their location. But if you offer something unique, you package it, you pair it with something else, or you just create something that distinguishes you, then you stop becoming a commodity and you become something much more desirable, right? Something unique. And that differentiation is key. So if you're an internal medicine doctor, but now you offer wellness classes for free on Saturdays, if you do health fairs, you create a kid's health routine that maybe you have a book that you give every single one of your patients that's free. What is it, something that's unique that you can do? Or maybe every Saturday you have all the like a juice shop come by and give free juices. You have an olive oil shop coming by. You have You know, maybe you have a wellness podcast that gives you unique tips and insights that none of the other doctors have. Now you become very unique. So that's just an example of, again, how to make that grand slam or interesting offer. Now let's get to the last one, Nick. Let's talk about engagement. How do you increase engagement, for example, in that weight loss clinic?
Yeah, I think the easiest way is to post good content. And it doesn't mean, and you don't need to post 7 times a week, like a lot of people think you do. If you post engaging content, you're gonna be ahead of a lot of people, and not just engaging content, but something valuable, like say the examples you just gave of being a podcast, juice bar, different things. Offer them something of value. And even if it's in a sense stealing or sharing someone else's value through you, and say, hey, my coach or a physician, Vikram Raya, he did this thing. This was very beneficial. You should do it. They're not going to necessarily care that Vikram, it was from Vikram and you're passing it along. They're just going to hear it from you, especially in your local area, and they're going to come to you. So posting valuable content is huge. And the other one alongside that, I think that everyone should do is do some kind of weekly newsletter, weekly report, weekly update on our clinic kind of a thing, and build a list of people and get them into your tribe through that, and through that email list, nurture those relationships. I think it's something that everyone should do no matter what business you're in, because one, it helps you write better copy, advertising copy, just copy generally, and copywriting. Even if you're not a professional copywriter, writing words that can sell people on paper, you should learn copywriting to some extent, because it's going to help grow your business. If you hire someone for it, you'll be able to articulate to them better why your stuff is, what your unique selling proposition is. It's super important. So having some kind of a medium to share the content to people, whether it's just on social and everyone can see it, or you get them on a list, that's what I would really recommend anyone to do in this situation.
So Nick, let's talk about that. And it's a really good advice, by the way. But let's talk about, look, there's two types of ways to get people in the door. One is what we call organic, and one is called paid. We know the value of paid, and how potentially you can accelerate growth. But a lot of practitioners may not necessarily have an extra $5,000, $10,000, $20,000, $100,000 a month that they like to spend. What are maybe the top three, maybe 4 or 5 strategies for organic marketing that maybe you've learned about, and you recommend potentially for physicians, whether they're trying to grow a real estate business, they're trying to grow an aesthetic business, a weight loss business, or their own potential medical business, or any kind of business?
Yeah. I think the first one is just simply talk about it more. If you're out and about, talk to your friends, talk to your family about it. Just talk more about your stuff. And you can post more about it too, and that will help. That's all organic. You don't have to pay a dime for that. The second one is to come up with a really good referral system. Offer some kind of rewards to people in your clinic or in your business currently that work with you, and really push on them. Hey, you should want to invite more people, because here's what you're going to get if you do invite them. So that's really big. Building some kind of a referral machine. Make it automated. Make it very exciting for people to go out there and promote your business for you, because the people that are in your business now, those are going to be your number one fans, and you need to get them out there for you. The second thing to do is collaboration. If you are, say you are your weight loss clinic, right? You could probably find a chiropractor or some other kind of clinic to, in a sense, partner with, and kind of pass clients back and forth. If someone comes to the chiropractor because say, I don't know, their hips are hurting or something, maybe it's because they need to lose weight. And then the chiropractor can say, hey, cool, I adjusted you, you're good, but you don't want to keep coming for adjustments every day. Go to this clinic and they can help you out. So referral, talking about it more, building some kind of a referral system, partnering with other clinics or other businesses, and really think outside of the box here. Don't just go to like another doctor to partner. You could just think outside of the box as much as you can. Maybe find a small company around you that sells some kind of food locally, right? Like if a farmer's market, say there's a really successful person at the farmer's market that's just selling really healthy food that you like and you resonate with, figure out a way to put your business cards up on their thing, right, at the stand, and then more people will come through. I know even when I was starting, I would go to BNI groups. That was free for a certain period of time, but BNI groups have always been really great.
What does
I know a
BNI
lot
stand for our listeners?
of business networking. I honestly don't even remember.
I think
Um,
influencers or invent. Okay.
yeah, something, a
Yeah.
business networking, something.
It's essentially a like a Rotary Club, a Kiwanis. It's commerce, chamber of commerce kind of thing where it's entrepreneurs coming together.
Exactly. The last one, and this is a little bit more of a recent one, a little bit more unique, especially if you are someone local. Look at an app called the Nextdoor app. On the App Store, it's got like a greenhouse. I've used it a while ago, and for organic stuff, for organic marketing, it works surprisingly well. People are on there in literally the Nextdoor app, your next door neighbors posting about things they're struggling with, and I've found that to work very well for any smaller businesses or clinics wanting to, fill up their calendar.
Yeah, and I want to share a strategy that I've learned from one of my mentors, Dr. Charlie Webb. It's called presidential marketing. And so, presidents, when they're trying to win campaigns, what do? Right? They go shake hands, right? What else do? They go kiss babies. They go to local businesses and just, pretend to eat at the diner and whatever other things they do. So it's getting out of the office, out of your clinic, out of your facility, and going and meeting the people. It's also known as grassroots marketing. So how can you apply that? I don't care what business you're in, but if it's a service business of some sort where you're selling products or services in the local area, it's brick and mortar. By going out, meeting people with either similar, parallel, or even potentially competing, but maybe down the road and really not in your area, you can really gather momentum here. And so, if you're a physician, the number one source for a lot of your patients are referrals a lot of times. And so going out and bringing a gift for those referrals, doing a lunch and learn, providing, hey, I love to do a demonstration. If you're an acupuncturist, for example, or you're a chiropractor, or you do something, you're a PM&R doctor and you actually do something physical, maybe you do a demonstration. All of this is very useful. And this motion creates velocity, and velocity creates momentum. Momentum creates lead flow, and lead flow will generate more wealth in your practice. So that's fantastic. Nic, we've been talking about a couple of books here and there. Uh, Tell me some of the top books or courses potentially that our listeners would really benefit from by listening or being involved in.
Yeah, I've got a couple for sure. So, Ready, Fire, Aim. If you don't have that book and you're a business owner, get that book. It's really good.
Okay.
The Big Leap is also a really good book. That's more of a mindset book. That's very good. Essentialism is a really great book as well. That's productivity stuff. That's always really good. Um, what else? On the marketing side of things, 100 Million Offers. That's a really, really great book. Like Vikram was saying. I think those are the big ones that I can see right now and remember. I think
Yeah,
those
no,
are the big ones.
those are awesome, guys. So all those will be in the show notes. Guys, again, the more you read, the more you listen. And you know what? If you really are new to marketing, I gave this to one of my buddies, Ravi, where he was just trying to get into marketing. It's called Marketing Made Simple by Donald Miller. Donald Miller is also famous for creating Story Brand, which is a good methodology, a framework for creating sort of a story arc and sort of overall messaging and branding for your website and things like that. He also talks about, he uses the Joseph Campbell's, the hero's journey archetype, where all stories are based on this guy, a hero, for example, going through struggle and heartache, and then he meets a mentor. The mentor guides him to some kind of overcome an obstacle, and then he learns something new, and then he becomes victorious at the end. So that's essentially a customer journey as well. So think about using that in that framework. So Nic, as you're working with people, what makes successful clients and what makes unsuccessful clients in your business practice?
A lot of it definitely has to do with mindset, first off. I think if you have a positive mindset and you understand that, some things can take time, but I think mindset is just number one. You have to have a growth mindset. If you have a scarcity mindset, obviously, like, in anything you do, it's going to be a lot harder. But same in marketing, because sometimes things can get tough and things ebb and flow, which can be normal, but not having that growth mindset is super important. Every extremely successful client that I've had has that growth mindset. And in a sense, they're kind of attached, but not attached as well. They're those operators, if is a good way to kind of think of them. So that's the first thing. The second one is definitely having a good offer. I've had people come to me before where they haven't sold anything and they're like, Nick, I need your help. I can't help those people as much as, hey, Nick, I've sold to 10, 20 people. I need your help. It's like, okay, now we have something to work with. We know that your offer is proven. So, and I would say for anyone, if you're considering paid marketing or even doing more organic marketing, the one thing you should focus on doing first is just sell more. Like that should be your number one job, is just getting more people into your ecosystem. Another thing that helps, that my number one most successful clients have, I'd say they understand and they can very clearly articulate to me what their unique selling proposition is. So it kind of ties into the offer, but it's super big. And like I said a little bit ago, understanding copywriting, even if you're not a copywriter, is something I think every business owner should understand a little bit. And that's what allows my very successful clients to say, hey, we help doctors, become limitless in the 5 freedoms. Like, this is what we do. And it's super clear. It's very simple to understand. I know who we're going after. And, those are the biggest ones off the top of my head that I can think of.
Yeah. And one of the concepts I've learned is niches get riches, right? So, and another way to say that is you go weird before you go wide. Hey, I could be a doctor and I help, tall people with psoriasis and short people with acne. But what if I only help women with thyroid disease who have weight issues? That's pretty niche down. So when my marketing is very catered toward that person, so the goal is to really be polarizing. You want to be not polarizing as a person, but as potentially an offer or a business or a service. Really say, hey, look, I only take care of these people. And as long as there's enough of those people out there, then you're going to be totally fine. Because what happens is then you're known for something. Because if you're not known for anything, then you're just one of the many. You want to be part of the sort of the tribe of the few who are like, man, that person is super specialized. I take care of people with, as a cardiologist, you could be like, look, I am a preventive cardiologist that deals with people with too much triglycerides or something. I mean, all right. There's enough people out there that probably have that they'll come to you because you've created a special protocol. You've created some kind of unique strategies, and you have testimonials and case studies to support your success. So I'm going to raise my hand when I hear about that. So exactly. I say learn to get narrowed down a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome, Nick. So as we start wrapping up here, what's the impact you want to have on the world?
The impact I want to have is I want to be able to help people spread their message faster and wider than they ever thought possible. I want them to be able to help the people that they want to help and have a great experience with me while doing it. I know that in the marketing space, there can be a lot of issues. There can be a lot of people that don't help. There's a lot of empty promises, and I understand that. And I want to separate myself from that crowd and make sure that I can help people, reach the masses and achieve their goals faster and hit those goals higher than they ever thought possible.
That's awesome, man. And you're definitely helping us. Appreciate everything you've done for us. And
thank you.
What's one last piece of pearl advice, wisdom you want to leave with our listeners? And then we'll wrap up with that, letting them know where they can find you.
Take action, take imperfect action. I think that's the biggest thing that anyone can do. It gets very easy, very quickly to get distracted by shiny objects, or even to, have the perfection, just want to be perfect on everything, on the post you get out, on the email you get out, on the video you do. But it's going to take you so much longer, and it's going to be a lot more painful to get the result you want instead of just taking imperfect action. That's huge. Take imperfect action, start doing it today. That's the biggest thing that I could say that you could do.
Yeah. There's a quote that reminds me of it's be impatient with action, but be patient with the results. Right. So
exactly. Yeah.
And I like the what you mentioned about detached. A lot of the world religions also talk about, your duty or dharma, or your ability to act in accordance with your mission on earth, but then the results are not up to you. That's up to someone else, like the universal higher power, for example. So just
Exactly.
act decisively. And another thing that James Clear talks about is, if the decision is reversible, act quickly. If the decisions are irreversible, you're allowed to take a little bit of time and think about it, right?
Exactly.
So those are some of the metrics and rubrics. Now, I'm sure you're going to get a lot of interest in some of your services and how you can potentially help people. Nic, can you share with us, a little bit about how they can find you?
Yeah, so there's two ways that I can help. I can either do everything for you, or we can guide you along in our process. And the easiest way is if you just message me on Instagram. It's my name, Nicholas Korvessis. That's the easiest way to get in touch with me directly, and I can kind of talk to you a little bit, see what's going on. The other easy ways, there'll be a link below, and you can watch a video to learn more about what myself and my team at Scale Lab does, how we can help you. And then you can even go through a survey and see if you're a good fit, just like I said, for you guys to do, go through a survey. And then so that's the easiest way to reach me. One last thing that I did want to leave everyone with, if you don't, it's from the book Ready, Fire, Aim. It was in one of the first chapters, and I have my notes up for it, what I'm looking at now. And if you don't get this book, and just generally, I think these 5 points are super important. To start a business and keep it growing, first, come up with more ideas. Continue to come up with ideas. Second, sell more. A lot of people don't like and they get uncomfortable with selling, but you need to do more of it. It's so important, especially if you're under, $1 million, or even, I know even in the book at 10 million, he's like, sell. You should always be selling. Manage systems, create systems as well. That's huge. Develop superstars on your team. And then the fifth one is taking action. So those 5 things, as well as taking imperfect action, that wraps that up. But I would say those are the other 5 things, to start your business and keep it growing.
Boom, guys. Man, I asked for 1 pearl. He drops another 5 more on you guys. This is amazing. So Nic, thank you so much. Thank you for all the wisdom you shared. Thanks again for all the strategies. And with that, guys, continue to be phenomenal, and I'll see you guys next time. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Limitless MD. If you found value from this episode, I encourage you to share this episode with a friend and let me know by leaving a review. For more information, make sure you check out the links in the show notes below, or simply visit vikramraya.com. So until next time, my friends, be phenomenal.